What's up guys, Scott from Overland. So today I want to talk to you a little bit about the Goal Zero Yeti. I use the Yeti 400 to power my fridge and I charge it with an inverter, and for the longest time I've been really happy with it, but the more I use it, the more little things I'm noticing that I don't like, and I'm probably going to end up going with the dual battery system, and we're just going to talk about why. Alright, so with the Goal Zero Yeti 400, you don't get a 12 volt charging system with it. So you get the mains for 220 here, 110 in the States, but you don't get the 12 volt. Now the stuff that I've looked at the 12 volt says that it's really slow to charge with. I haven't tried it, so I don't know the numbers on that, but I've always charged it with a cheap power inverter. Now the power inverter that I use is a 300 watt inverter, plugs into the cigarette lighter, and then you just plug in your mains, your 220 or your 110 into that, and it charges the Yeti, and then the Yeti powers this off a 12 volt full time. So people ask, well, why don't you just plug this into straight into the Jeep? Well, because I don't want to run down my battery. I don't have a dual battery, so I only have a cranking battery under the hood. So if that dies, then I'm dead. So I have to jump start or something, which I have a jump pack, but I don't want to deal with that when I'm out camping. So the Goal Zero Yeti is just a little bit of insurance, I guess you'd say. So it powers this, and if the Goal Zero Yeti dies, then yes, I can plug this straight into the Jeep power and you run it that way. But I just like, again, I like having a Goal Zero Yeti there just so I can plug this into that and then charge the Yeti when I need to. And it lasts for a day and a half, 2 days, stuff like it, depending on how much you use it. I did a whole video on that, so you can check that over there. But the thing I'm running into is this: I have two plugs in the Jeep, okay? I've got an accessory plug that comes on when the Jeep's on, then I have one that's on full time. So I normally run it on the accessory plug, so when a Jeep's running, it charges, it runs the inverter, which charges the Goal Zero Yeti. So I've been running the inverter like that for a long time, just plugging it straight into the accessory and then driving around with it, so when I drive it charges. But the thing is, it keeps blowing fuses. So the fuse, I think it was a 20 amp fuse, and I wouldn't suggest going too much higher than that. I have tried other fuses, but just to be safe, I went back to the 20 amp so it blows when it's supposed to. But I've blown loads of fuses over time, and sometimes it'll be like within an hour, sometimes it'll be 3 or 4 days before it blows, but it keeps blowing. And that's, I think it's just down to not having the right wire to run what I'm trying to run with it, which not Jeep's fault. I'm sure they didn't figure you're going to plug an inverter in there. It's more about charging like phones and stuff like that probably. But so it's just too much power. I think it's pulling and it's blowing the fuses under the hood. So the other option, like I said, is the 12 volt that's always on. So it's constantly on, and I think I've worn that out as well. And then, like I said, this is when you get into dangers of overtasking a system that isn't supposed to pull or give that much power. And I think I've done that. And I even noticed, scarily enough, some overheat markings on the actual plug inside the Jeep. So I have stopped using that completely. Actually, that plug has almost stopped working completely, so I will be taking that out because I don't want to risk, obviously, it catching on fire or something like that, you know, because it can't happen. So right now what I have planned is I've ordered an ARB 12 volt plug receptacle, so I can plug the fridge or even the Yeti straight into, and it's made to pull the power that this thing needs. So it's bigger wires and it's a better setup. So I've ordered that. It's over here, you can check it out. I've ordered that. Once it gets here, I'm going to wire it in and test it that way and see how it goes. It also is a fuse system, so it'll have a blade fuse on it right near the battery, and we'll see how it goes. So that's the next step. So the long-term goal is to actually get a proper dual battery setup. Alex from Buzz Special Vehicles has recently done one, and I really like it. He's still tweaking it and everything, but the basis of it is great. He uses a C-Tech DC to DC charger, and basically it just steps it up. It just bumps it up enough to charge the secondary battery without taxing the other battery as much, the way I understand it. Obviously I'll be doing a lot more research into that, but that's the plan. So I'm going to have to get a second battery, and that's what I'm looking at. Now if you get a regular, you don't want a regular like leisure battery that's like massive or something, so I'm looking at getting like an Optima, another gold top like I have under the hood, or possibly a different style of sealed AGM battery that can just go back here somewhere. Christian from Axe Amos on Instagram has just done this for me, so I've got a slide system. I'll do another video on that for the fridge and the cooker, and he's also building cubbies for the side, so it will end up hiding the battery inside that cubby somewhere. But I just wanted to come on here and say this stuff because I'm a little concerned about the power that the inverter is pulling out of the stock Jeep system. So if anyone's trying that as well, I urge you, one, to be very careful, and two, if you're blowing fuses, it's probably not a good thing to do. And obviously I'm not saying to try this or not try it or whatever, but just be careful with this system that I'm using at the moment. I'm starting to see some flaws in it that I've noticed over time, and I'm going away from doing it that way as soon as possible. So there you go. I know a lot of people's been asking about the Goal Zero Yeti and what I thought of it. So that's my most up-to-date version. It's been great for the longest time, but after using it for a while, I'm starting to see some flaws, and some of them are a little worrying. So the Yeti itself is great and it works awesome. We lost power in the house one day, and the wife was working on some schoolwork, and she asked if I can get the internet back up. So I took the Goal Zero, took it inside, plugged in a router, and we were able to get power back to the router, and the internet wasn't down, so the internet came back up and she was able to carry on her laptop. So that kind of stuff, it does great. Campsites, if you're out at the campsite, you pop it down on the ground, plug some stuff into it if you need to or whatever, or run a mattress pump or a tire pump for your vehicle or whatever, that's great. Running this on its own is awesome. If you would run it on a DC charger, I'm guessing yes, it will be slower, but I think it'll be safer. Again, this is all just my suggestion. I'm not telling you how to do it, what works. I'm just telling you from my experience what works for me, and also what I've started noticing issues with. So just informational. Again, I don't endorse doing any of this stuff on your own. You do it at your own risk, but that's just from my experience. And again, I think that's where this channel is really going, is I just tell you what my honest opinion and my honest experience with this stuff is, and if I try something that doesn't work, I'm going to come on here and tell you. And if while I'm trying it's working really well, I'm going to tell you that too. But in this situation, I'm noticing some flaws after the fact, so I feel like I need to come on here and tell you that. So I know some people have been calling Buzz Special Vehicles and mentioning Axe Overland, so I can't thank you enough for that. Thank you so much for dropping my name, saying you've seen them on the channel, or you saw something on my channel that you're interested in. That's huge. That means that these videos are actually doing what they're supposed to do, and it's giving people some experience with stuff before they have to spend the money. So let my good and bad experiences be your experiences and save yourself some money. That's 100% what this channel's for. So anyway, I'm gonna get out of here. I've talked enough about it. If you have any questions or comments, please post them in the comments below. A lot of people will message me about stuff like this, and then I get a lot of the same messages over and over, which I'm completely happy to answer, and I do. You can ask most people or anybody that's really messaged me on Facebook or Instagram. I answer the questions. But if you put it in the comments below and we can get the questions answered there, then everybody can benefit from them. So anyway, just my 2 cents. But I appreciate y'all stopping by. I'm gonna shut up now. I've got to get ready for a camp trip this weekend, so I gotta clear this thing out and start getting everything organized. But anyway, I appreciate y'all stopping by, and we'll see you out there.